Hello, and welcome to another captivating episode of Grasp Confidence Podcast. I am your host, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Cindy Carrillo. Cindy and her background is really amazing and inspiring. After more than 20 years as the founder and CEO of a business she built into a successful nationwide company, congratulations.
Thank you.
Cindy chooses to sell her business and move into the next phase of her life. The next phase, NXT, by the way, ended up transforming herself from a business leader wearing suits and high heels to designing a new life on a 35-acre ranch wearing denim and boots in rural Colorado. Not only did Cindy make this major change in her life, but she also wrote a book about it called Finding Your Nxt, NXT, which tells the story of becoming a rancher and the lessons learned along the way that others can use to discover their own next. Cindy has a master's degree in social work and more than 45 years of business and nonprofit leadership experience, and coaches and business leaders throughout the country. In recent years, Cindy has added a unique and personalized 2.5-day on-site coaching immersion program at her ranch in Colorado for individual clients to help them find their next. She has an amazing partner, Matthew, 2 wonderful grown children, 2 wonderful granddaughters, 3 adorable grand dogs, 2 perfect ranch dogs, and a barn full of hysterically cute farm animals that fill her life to the brim. Did I get that right? Did I get all of it, Cindy?
I'm pretty sure. My life is filled with a lot of cuteness. Yes, and challenge, but yes.
It sounds amazing, and envious. I'm thinking like the rural ranch in Colorado, and I'm thinking of all the wonderful landscape that you must be around, and how beautiful that must be. I'm not a city person, definitely. I very much relate to kind of off the beaten path, right?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. One of my dreams was to find a piece of property with some magnificent views, and man, did I luck out. I found exactly what I was looking for and then built a life around it. It's pretty remarkable.
I love that. Well, take us back because, your life now looks starkly different from what it did when you were walking around in suits and heels in corporate America, right?
Yeah.
Leading teams and this huge company. So I would love to learn a little bit more about the history of what made you today. If you could take us back to a time.
Sure. You're absolutely right. This was not created in the blink of an eye, and you don't make what I refer to as a transformational change like I did overnight. I mean, this is a process. And I'll tell you, if you spin that clock backwards just a little bit to about, maybe 2006. I had been running my company, founded my company, built it, ran it, loved it, loved every part of it, loved the learning, loved the people, loved my clients, loved the making shit up that I got to do all the time, which I kind of think is what an entrepreneur really loves to do, right? And things started to change in my life. My relationship with my husband started to morph, and we decided that being married together probably wasn't the best scenario for us, and decided to really redefine our relationship. And so we uncoupled the marriage, but we made an even stronger commitment to our family. We have 2 kids together. They were growing up, and excuse me, and I loved him. I just didn't want to be married to him anymore. And the reality was he didn't want to be married to me anymore. So we were able to really morph our relationship, stay really close together, and figure out how to keep our family together and evolve that over the years. So that was in motion. And when you do something like that, that's pretty transformational as well, right? I'm going to try and figure out how to redefine a relationship without throwing the whole thing out, which is not the way our society really helps us and supports us to do it. It's the throw the whole thing out scenario that is usually like, just burn it to the ground and then, move on with your life. Well, I've never been a big believer of that. So we were going through that. And at the same time, I was starting to pay attention to what was happening in my business and my role in my business and my value to the business and the joy that I was getting out of the business, and starting to get a little restless because we had hit a point in the business where we had sort of figured out the magic sauce. And so it was all about selling more, doing more of what we were already doing. And to go back to what I said before about what entrepreneurs tend to like to do, I was running out of things to make up. And that was uncomfortable for me because maintaining things is not my strong suit. Vision is my strong suit. Seeing things, inspiring people, leadership is my strong suit. And I could have continued with that for a while, but it seemed like the perfect storm, in a good storm, like a good way, where the rainbows are on the other side, where if my life was transforming in other areas of my life, change tends to have a ripple effect. And there are three areas of your life, right, that you can change and have an impact. One is your relationships, the second is your work, and the third is your lifestyle. So I'm kind of an all in kind of girl. And I was already changing my relationship and I was getting antsy in work. And I thought, let's just do it. Let's just address it and figure out what is in the best interest of the company, what is in the best interest of me. So some would look at that as a very stressful time, at a very difficult time. And the same thing that we're taught to do with relationships, we tend to do with our jobs, where we feel like in order to move on to something else, we have to knock it to the ground, burn it up, make it horrible, just make it evil so that we feel better about walking away.
Mm.
I didn't want to walk away. I wanted to walk towards something else. So I started to lay the groundwork. And I thought, okay, what's the best way to do this? The best way to do this is to position the company to sell it. So for 2 years, we made decisions in the company that would position the company in the best way possible. We tightened things up. We increased sales. We were really focused on making our company be and look the best it could be, which was a ton of fun. So it wasn't like making it bad. It was actually making it the best it could be, which was fun and enjoyable. But still, I realized that I wasn't the right person to take it forward.
Mm.
I realized that I had reached sort of my apex, that I had really done what I could do for the business, and it would be best served to have more resources and different people leading the charge. That became very clear. But with that also became a point in time of tremendous unease, discomfort, and a lack of clarity of what was going to be next. Even though I knew it was time, even though I had my bones on a cellular level, man, I knew it was time. It's not change is just not comfortable, right?
Right.
And so I had a board of directors at the time, And we were doing quite well because for 2 years, what were we doing? We were setting ourselves to look the best we possibly could be in our entire history. So imagine me going to my board and saying, "Okay, guys, oh, guys." And I said, "So I think it's time to sell the company." And they looked at me like I was nuts. And they were like, "What are you talking about?" This is 2008.
Wow.
Now yeah, and it was about March of 2008 where I went. So things were starting to have certain ripples in the economy in the country, and we were starting, but things hadn't imploded yet, as you recall, in 2008 they did. And so I went to them and said, I think we need to do this. And they said, "You're nuts. Go away, little girl. Go away. Do your thing. But let's ride this train." So I went to an advisor of mine and an investor in the company who was an investment broker. And I laid out my case to him. And I said, "It's time. We're going to get the best price we ever could now. I mean, with me." And so he came back to the board with me and he presented the case. And they looked at him and said, "Why? Why are you on board with this?" And he said, "I'll tell you, in my 20 years of being an investment banker, anytime a founder and CEO has come to me and told me they thought it was time," at that moment he paused and he kind of looked across the room at me and he goes, "Cindy, is it time?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "How do you know?" He said, I said, "I know in every cell of my body, now is the time." And he looked back at them and he said, "Now's the time." And they said, "Okay." And we went for it. And we spent all summer doing all the stuff that you do to position yourself to sell a company. And on Labor Day, the day after Labor Day of 2008, we put out a packet to sell the company. I think it was 8 days later that Lehman Brothers went under and everything changed in the economy. Now, did I know that was gonna happen? No, no, but we persevered, and by the end of 2008, we inked a deal, and we had sold the company. Probably one of the only companies in the country to sell that year, but we got it done. And, it was both a relief and scary as hell.
Absolutely. What you said resonates so deeply about feeling it in every cell of your body. We get these intuitions, we feel
Yeah,
deeply about something, but then fear or lower level thinking can easily get in our way. And we could say, I don't have a next. This is my life. Cindy, so many people adopt these titles and their identity becomes entrenched and enwrapped in these titles as if you are a CEO. You're so much more than that. You're whatever you want to be.
yep,
But we let this fear and this self doubt and ignoring of our own bodies
yep,
to get in the way of our own next big thing.
yep.
What do you think about that?
In the book, I really identified 3 things that block us from moving forward when we have that feeling. We know it, but we don't know what to do next. Okay. And the first and most, I think the most dominant of the fears that come to us to hold us back is the fear of the unknown. I mean, come on. Who wants to move into a dark abyss when we don't have any clarity? We don't know the path. We can't see the road. We can't see the forest for the trees. All that stuff, of course you're going to sit where you are if you don't have a plan, if you don't have answers to questions. So, what I learned through the process, because oh my goodness, of course I felt the fear of the unknown. I had this wide open, world in front of me. I had resources. I was in a position to make a change, right? My children were grown-ups living their own life. My husband was no longer my husband. I had a new partner. I mean, my life was open, right? What's next? And yet the fear of the unknown, I don't know what that means. There's so many possibilities. I think I'm kind of paralyzed. What are my options? Oh my goodness, too much. I don't know. I don't know. Well, if we change that fear of the unknown from stopping us to recognizing that that's our way of telling us we simply don't have enough information. We have some work to do. We need to gain clarity. We need to ask ourselves some very important, qualified questions about what's most important to us. What do we value? What are the ideal circumstances of how we'd want to move forward? And check by check by check by check, when we take the time and we focus in on ourselves and asking ourselves some very poignant questions, we start to answer them. We start to clear the fog. We start to see a path. We start to gain clarity. That's what the fear of the unknown is telling us to do. But there's another fear, another blocker that is very insidious, and it's the fear of failure. Oh my God, what if it doesn't work? This is a risk. You know, I'm an entrepreneur, okay? It's one of my labels, but really what it is a descriptor of me, where I like change. You know, with all of its stuff and its fears, I kind of get jazzed by it. So the fear of failure, though, creeps in regardless of who you are, even if you embrace and love change like I do. And then the questions start. What if? Oh my God. If this, then this. What if? What if I can't do it? What if I move to a rural area with, a ranch, follow my dream, and nobody comes? My family and friends think I'm nuts and they cut me off. And then I've moved to a rural area all by myself pretty much, and I'm alone. What if I invest all these dollars into this dream and I can't do it? What if I find I don't want to do it? What if? What if? What if? So for me, I had to answer the what ifs. And my mother used to play a game with me. And she'd always say, because I'd fall into that, and she'd say, okay, let's play the what if game, right? What if you move and you don't like it? Well, I guess I'd give it a try. But then I guess I would sell and try something else. Oh, okay. So what have you lost? What if you did that? Well, I would have lost some time. I might lose some money. I don't know. Maybe I could do it in a way where I could earn more money. What if nobody comes? Well, are they really not going to come? I mean, they like me. And if I set it up for guests to come, and I know my family, so I'm going to do it in a way that they'd want to come. So is that really a thing? No, I could do this. I could do this. Again, asking questions, working through the fear, making that fear lose its power.
Ooh, that's so powerful. I like to ask myself, what if I succeed?
What a great
I
way
make
to
$1
look at
million.
it. Right? What if I'm really happy? What if they just come a lot to the ranch and I have to say no?
Yeah. And I say to myself things like, I'm going to have too many clients. I'm going to have so many things come in that I will have to hire people to help me.
Such a good way to look at it.
Yeah, and it's one, when you're operating at a base of fear, it's scarcity. It's
Yes.
a scarcity mentality, it's fight or flight, it's, going back to our earliest ancestors, right? But
Yes.
we don't have to continue living that way. And we can make this choice, and it's really, I call it my ninja mindset moves.
I love it.
Ninja mindset. Because I feel like, for me, incorporating gratitude into my daily practices and taking something that's negative, a negative thought, like, what if I fail? To forming it into gratitude, again, what if I succeed so much that I get to give this abundance to somebody else by hiring them? What if, what if, what if? And we're a lot of us are really good at ruminating thoughts, aren't we? We're really good at taking a negative thought and putting it on the record player and spinning it around a couple of times, maybe a lot of times.
Absolutely.
But that's kind of how fear is. It's that never-ending kind of record, and you have to break the pattern in order to change the song, don't you?
You do. And one way that I think that I've learned is one of those tricks, if you will, and it's very successful, but one of the traps we get into to buy into the fear and the negativity is we will say a double sentence, a two-sided sentence, right? Boy, I really want to move to the country and change my lifestyle, right? But I'm really not sure if I can do it. I'm not sure if I'd be happy. Oh, I'm not sure it's really the lifestyle change I've been looking for. So here we set ourselves up and we almost pretend to buy into the idea to give it a chance. Boy, I really think that I want to do this. Then we use that word, but
Mm,
stops us. And it almost gives us permission to then negate the whole first part of the thought and the sentence with all the things that could go wrong and all the negativity, which stops the dream. So instead of using but, because man, we do it a lot, I really want to move to the country and see if this is the new lifestyle I want. And I'm going to have to pay attention to A, B, and C to make it work because this is who I am. And this is what I think I want. And this is what's important to me. So if we change but for and, we don't allow the negativity to come in. We force the answers to maybe what we do need to do, but we do it in a way that is positive and forward thinking, doesn't shut us down.
yeah.
It's a great way to look at the world. I tell my clients all the time, look, every time you have a negative thought, okay, know there is an opposite to that thought. So when the negativity comes out, I can't stand working for my micromanaging boss. She drives me nuts. Okay, that's a negative. Okay, what's the positive to that? Okay, I probably need to either address with my boss that I'm more than capable and she doesn't need to micromanage me in these ways. I need her to trust me and I need to be able to prove myself. Or I think that's an indication that I'm working for the wrong person. I need to take some action to make a change because
Mm,
clearly that's driving me crazy.
yeah. But
So
again, it goes back to listening to ourselves, though.
and like take us at our word.
Yes. Yes.
We don't just say stuff. When we say stuff, it's indicative of what we're feeling and what's going on in our lives. Listen.
Yes. But we can so easily dismiss because, a lot of times we're seeking that external validation or approval from others. We're seeking some type of, you know, again, to fit into some box or something of that nature, somebody's other plan that they have for us. We're actually not honoring ourselves and listening to our own bodies. And, our bodies are really smart too, Cindy. I want to point that out because when I was in a toxic work environment, my body told me first.
Yes.
Maybe it was a skin rash. Maybe literally your hair starts falling out.
Yes.
I've interviewed people that have been so stressed due to toxic work environments that their body stops digesting food well.
Yes.
Listen to your body, right?
Yes. Yes. Pay attention. We're
Yes.
smarter than we think.
Yes.
And when we're not satisfied, when we're not being fed what we need in our mind, in our hearts, in our guts, man. I talk about the heart, the head, heart, and gut alignment to know when the decision is right to make for yourself. When you've got that alignment, when you know in your head, man, logically this makes sense. Oh, I feel good. Ah, my gut, I don't have any problems, as opposed to you can logically think about something. Okay, I can make this work. Feeling, yeah, okay, I can work through this. I can do this. And your gut's going slap, 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 red flags all over the place. You got welts coming out on your face and you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Pay attention.
Pay attention. Yes. I
Attention.
love that. It's so simple, but really you just pay attention. How does something make you feel?
Yeah,
And honoring that and taking a time to acknowledge it.
yeah.
So, Cindy, I feel like we could talk for hours because there's so much wisdom here. But obviously, you have this amazing book. I would encourage everybody to read it, Finding Your Next, because we're not trees, we're not planted in the ground. We can move about freely, right? And when we listen to our minds and our bodies and what we're hearing from ourselves at that, like you said, cellular level,
Yeah.
we're really honoring our own selves, our souls, and what we want. But obviously, everybody should buy your book.
Thank you.
You should definitely come and see you in your ranch in Colorado. But what is the best way for people to get in touch with you and learn more about you?
I appreciate that. I have a website, and no surprise to anybody, it's called findingyournext.com.
NXT.
Okay. And
NXT.
NXT. And the next with the NXT, and it's capital NXT, um, was really to highlight the importance of the next and to highlight the fact that this should be a normal process that we go through to engage in change over the course of our life. Not everybody's going to go through a transformational next, little steps, next phases, next stages of our lives. All important, all have a process that can be repeated. So that's important on the next. So not only do I have a book, Finding Your Next, which can be found on Amazon and any other place you buy a book, but also I decided to write a workbook that is a companion to the book with all the questions that I ask my coaching clients as they're going through a next. So in the privacy of your own home, you can be prompted with the kinds of questions I was talking about earlier to help you gain that kind of clarity. And if that's not something you want to do on your own, then I coach through my website. I can be reached, as well as having the immersion to find your next at the ranch, again, which you can find me on my website, findingyournext.com. And all of those help you get that kind of clarity, whether or not you like to do it on your own or in the safety and comfort being pampered at the ranch with the views that are unbelievable with baby goats. And, I have miniature horses and donkeys and a goose named Debbie. I mean, pigs, chickens, cows. Who wouldn't want to come here, right?
I want to go. My dream is to have a, I always tell my husband, a ranch with completely useless animals for working. I just want to pet all the animals. I want all the animals to be,
Absolutely.
yeah, we're not using them for anything. We're just loving them and petting.
I know people joke and say you have a petting farm. And I say, yes, for me, for everybody who comes here, it's adorable.
I
Adorable.
love that. Oh, that's so fun. Well,
Yeah.
Cindy, thank you so much for being an amazing guest on the show today. I know it inspires confidence for everyone who's listening. Guys, don't forget to like this episode, follow this show, hit subscribe, and leave a review. Every review that comes in is gratefully appreciated and seen by myself and my team. And it really helps to lighten the mood and to make us feel that we're producing a product that is really beneficial for you. So we will see you on the next episode. Take care.